forward and share my screen. So first off, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. I promise this will be really short and quick, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time this morning. So I just want to go over a few ePass updates that you can anticipate coming up. So I'm going to talk about some SOI updates in ePass, some ad updates that you will see for PTB 217, and of course, some lovely SOI reminders. Some general things to go over. I am recording this. I will post this to our, what I call blog, our consultant services YouTube page. So anyone who missed it today can go back and see it. I will share the slides with those who registered. And if you have any questions, post them to the chat. And like I said, this should be pretty short and sweet. And so the biggest thing that's happening for SO, yeah.
Before you go, are you able to maximize so we just see only the slides you're discussing, or else because we're seeing the next?
Which one am I sharing? Did I share the wrong screen?
Well, we'll see.
Well, I won't put it past me. Let's see.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought I had the right one. Okay. So the biggest thing to share is Exhibit B is no longer going to be required. So we are removing it entirely. So it's all the Location Design Studies tab, the Environmental Work tab, Environmental Staff tab, and other Environmental Staff tabs. It's just not going to be there any longer. Why? It's redundant information. Lately, we've seen sometimes it's not specific to the projects at times, and there's just too many attachments to draft or review. But it is now an option for the districts to request if they wish to see something similar. So what do I mean by that? So you can see the following statements on some of the ads in PTB 217 and on. So for example, if it was about location design experience, you might have a custom experience bullet point saying, hey, can you give me too complex, or whatever they choose to modify it for you to include in your experience. Same with the project understanding and approach. It might be towards location design. It's just not going to be required anymore unless the district specifically puts that in the advertisement. So just make sure you read the advertisement very carefully. Same thing with environment. If they want to see something specific about the environmental experience, they'll include a bullet point. If they want to see something environment, project understanding and approach, they're going to put a bullet point in there to let you know what they're looking for. If you don't see it in there, don't worry about it, because then the district doesn't want to see it. Another thing that we are actually changing, we're going to be moving where the project understanding and approach is uploaded. Before, it was bundled behind the org chart, and I'm not going to lie, that caused a lot of confusion. People kept asking about the page limits. To be honest, I never really understood, and I have no good reason why we chose to put it there. So we're just going to move anything that's additional besides your experience to basically the number 4 attachment, where it says, unless additional information is required within the advertisement, this should be blank. And we'll add a statement here saying if the advertisement requests a project understanding. So you'll see that there for 217 if you go after any of the items. So no more bundling it behind the org chart. That attachment 2 field is just strictly for your org chart and nothing else. So that should hopefully alleviate some of the confusion on that part. And just a reminder, delinquent debt no longer exists. It's just a checkbox. I had a lot of questions still in PTB 216. It doesn't exist. You don't have to do it. It's just a checkbox, just like the consultant disclosure form and the business and IRAN form. It's just a checkbox. So just check all 3 and you're done with those. I do have a fix in place for having to correct the project manager credentials. We've had some issues where, a PE was required or SE was required, or it wasn't a land surveyor. You'll see a few different options here in the advertisement. That's probably my fault, and I do apologize because I'm sure many of you know I have what's called an ad generator for the districts, and the districts actually generate the ad, and they answer a bunch of questions, and sometimes the Q&A, you know, we miss things. We're all human. So I made sure I added the following options here so that you'll see maybe a few different options here. So it could be just an Illinois PE, an Illinois SE, or it could be a PE or a SE or land surveyor. So we're trying to make sure we get those caught. The other thing that you're going to see is if environmental reports is to be subbed out, it's going to be rephrased to look like all the other subbed out categories. I'm getting comments. I'm assuming everyone can see my screen okay. I'm getting, okay, thank you. Maybe some other people are having, ooh, everybody's really fast. Okay, thank you. So for the environment, we had kind of the awkward phrasing where like the prime and or sub, and people would get kind of confused about if the prime could do it or they could sub it out. Well, now we're just going to rephrase it so it looks like any other subbed out category. It won't be required for the prime unless we actually put it there, and we won't be having it triggered with Exhibit B anymore. I hope that makes sense. So you'll see how that's phrased out differently if we require it in PTB 217. And a few short reminders just for your SOIs. Your firm interest, that attachment 1, 2 pages and no more. I had at least 3 people exceed it for 216, and I had to mark them not approved. And I think it happens every PTB. So I'm going to say it again. Please make sure like it's 2 pages, nothing more. If you have even a line of text or a few words on that 3rd page, we remove it completely, that whole statement of interest. So please make sure before you submit it's 2 pages and nothing more. The org chart, I get this question a lot. You know, keep it at 8.5 by 11 paper size. A lot of times it depends on the district's preference. Sometimes people print them out and other people review them electronically. I would say it's just really safe to keep it at 8.5 by 11 in case the district does print it out and your information isn't lost or cut off the page. And then some people prefer it to be 1 page. Please do not include resumes behind the org chart. If we didn't ask for the resumes and the key personnel, don't include those extra resumes behind the org chart. Literally, this attachment 2 is just for your org chart and nothing more. It's just 1 page, 8.5 by 11. Which segues to resumes. Do not exceed 2 pages per resume and only attach what's requested. I think I do have these questions every PTB. Can I include more people? And my answer is always no. If the district only put 2 people under Exhibit A, that's all they want to see. Do not include 5 people. If you want to include extra people, you can include them on your org chart, like represented, like in your org chart, but do not include their resume behind the org chart. So if you see 6 people listed, that's all the resumes that you're going to be adding under that Exhibit A staffing, no more. That's it. I have that question all the time, and if you include more, you're probably going to get marked down for not following directions because the district clearly is asking, include only these 6 people, these 5 people, these 2 people, maybe 20 people, but stick to that bullet point list. And I sound like a broken record, but tailor your SOI. You know, we still see a lot of cookie cutter SOIs. Just make sure you're reading the advertisement and trying to meet the district's needs. I know it's a lot of work, but hopefully removing the Exhibit B, delinquent debt, hopefully that will make it a little less burdensome. So I literally made this short and sweet. I didn't think it would take too long. I am going to open up the questions if there are any. If you have any questions at any time, you can email me. This is my email. I think everybody pretty much has it, so let me stop sharing my screen. Okay, let me see what questions we have. Give me a minute. Is there a portrait landscape page orientation requirement for resumes or chart projects, etc.? There is not. I would assume resumes most of the time I have seen them portrait, and org charts I've seen them landscape, but there is not a specific requirement. I would just keep everything at 8.5 by 11 paper size, just in case the districts do print them out. Another question, when an item asks to see the structural team performing the work, do you want all of the support structural staff resumes too? Yes, because there is a part in that statement that says, and any additional staff performing these duties. So that bullet point can be kind of misleading because, you know, it's wanting to see the lead, SE, and then any additional staff that would be doing that type of work. What if the bullet point Exhibit A is plural, such as technicians? Can that be multiple? Yes. Let's see what else. I think we just answered that one. Okay, just to clarify, there will be a clearly identified section for the understanding to go. In the example, I don't believe I saw this, only that it would go under section 4. Correct. I'm actually going to add the statement saying, you know, if a project understanding and approach is required, it will be bundled here in attachment 4. So if there's quite a few additional things required, you would bundle everything into one PDF and attach it in number 4. If our org chart is larger than the 8.5 by 11, should we make it a 2-page org chart? I would keep it to 1 page, since that's what we say on the instructions. I know, okay, the next question. I know there is a section for project experience. However, sometimes one of the bullet points at the end will state the consultant's relevant projects completed by the firm within the past 10 years by members of the consultant's key personnel listed in the statement of interest do not include more than 10 relevant projects. Does this mean that the projects uploaded in the project experience section should be limited to 10 pages, or do we upload 10 projects? Excellent question. So that phrase right there, the district's basically saying, I don't want to see 20 pages of your past experience, because I believe the requirement is up to 20 pages for that attachment 3 section. But instead, the district's just saying, I want to see 10 projects from your prime and your subs as a whole. So 10 projects overall. So if you had like 3 projects for your prime, maybe, you know, like 5 other projects for your subs, do not exceed that 10 project limit. You could show 10 projects in 20 pages if you wanted, but I'm pretty sure the district doesn't want to see that. I think they want to see, you know, short summaries of those projects, because keep in mind, you're not the only SOI that they're reviewing. Like if you have an item and there's over 20 plus SOIs to review, that's a lot of paper at the end of the day. So you want to make sure that you definitely get your key points in there. I would say 20 pages no matter what is probably a little too much, and that's just my personal opinion. But that statement basically replaces that you can't just do unlimited projects over a span of 20 pages. It's 10 projects. With the elimination of Exhibit B, will the environmental pre-qual staff resumes be requested for Exhibit A? Yes. That will be an option for the districts to add if they wish to see those key personnel. So if they don't list it, then you don't have to include it. And then this last question, I will have to get an answer for because I do not know off the top of my head. How should we deal with doc certs that are pending renewal, or when an individual has passed the PE exam and waiting for IDFPR? I will get an answer for that one. So all the QA that we did get today, I will make sure it's at the end of the slides. I think that's it. Oh, got one last one. One moment. Oh, okay, now they're all coming in. In the PTB, if they ask RE, QA, Chief Survey, Material Coordinator, Project Manager, Doc Tech, then Exhibit A should include only these people in Exhibit A. Correct. No more. Okay, so I'm going to close down the QA for now, and then I'm going to bundle them up and put them behind the slides. You guys will get a copy of the slides and the QA. I really want to thank you very much for joining us this morning, and thank you.